Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Ninja Warrior Podcast. Tonight, we're going to be covering the ANW 15 finals, semifinals episode, which contains the final 2 rounds of the semifinals.
Yeah, this is semifinals parts 3 and 4. If I'm being completely honest, these 2 rounds were a lot more entertaining to watch than the first 2 rounds that we covered last week. However, I can't say they were any good either.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's the same deal as last week, where these races are very chill. They don't really much of races. I kind of just want to call this episode something like, it ain't a race or something like that. I don't know. I'll probably, you guys will see when this thing actually comes out, but I have a couple of ideas. Again, it generally is just going to sound on the fact that these races don't really feel like much of a race.
Yeah, no. It's really weird to be covering this now because I just want to talk about stage 1 now.
You just want to skip forward?
Yes, because I am very pissed about that.
Yeah, I definitely agree, but that's for next time. We definitely have a lot of things to say. I don't know. Are we covering all of stage 1?
I mean, it's 2 2-hour-long episodes. Do you want to sit there for that long?
I don't know if we have the mental fortitude to do that, but I think it's we'll probably just do stage 1 part 1 and stage 1 part 2 as well, like separately, because that'd be easier for us. But here we're covering both rounds to catch up. And I guess, do you guys have any general opinions before we can go on to the actual episode itself? I mean, we had I do think this is more enjoyable, as we just said. I do like the fact that we got a couple more close races. Like, not all that many, but a couple more.
Yeah, it's not much, but it was something. At least there was that.
Yeah, going into the obstacle lineup this time around really quickly. No brand new obstacles to talk about, but we have home run, the flying shelf grab, sideways, and slingshot along with the rope climb. Just generally just going up with the lineup.
Yeah, it isn't much. We mentioned last time how these obstacles aren't really good choices, and it still Wayne's appealing. Wayne's repeating. Slingshot was a terrible choice, and I guess the other 3 were fine.
Yeah, the flying shelf grab and sideways could both be speedy if you want to make it that way. ANW Junior definitely showed that. And the Junior Ninjas were able to go through them fairly fastly during the seasons they were on, so it's not like they're bad choices. I just think Slingshot was not the best way to go.
Yeah, I mean, I really think if they were going to do this, they should have taken some lessons from They should have taken some lessons from, Team Ninja, Ninja vs. Ninja, and even ANW Junior, because all 3 shows had way better choices for this kind of course.
Yeah, just let's ignore the whole idea of ninjas colliding with each other and stuff, the crisscross wing toss. But there's also that show at obstacles like the, what is it called? Not the spin hopper.
Oh, I know what you mean too. What was it called? Oh yeah, it was called Spin Cycle.
Oh, right, yeah. So they had spin cycle. They had flywheels. Flying shelf grab was the 5th obstacle. They got some really good choices, and there's also the fact that there's no balance aspect to this course at all, aside from home run.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Like, balance is a good aspect of Ninja that they aren't capitalizing on. Like, the floating giles, like, it was not the best obstacle in the world in solos, but Ninja vs. Ninja gave that obstacle new life, I think.
Yeah, because it was in season 7, I think, but then it just never returned. But it caused so much chaotic confusion on Ninja vs. Ninja that it just was on that show, and that was its home. Honestly, I think we need more obstacles like that for these races to be more as intense as they were back then.
Yeah, because honestly, with some of these races, especially in these 2 episodes, especially in this episode, there's definitely examples to where they probably should not have been able to stall as much as they did.
Yeah, we're definitely going to get there, but we have been going on this for a little long. Let's move on to the ones for the first part of the episode. Starting off with the first women's matchup, Madeline Menderes versus Anna MacArthur. Yeah, these two were both rookie Yeah, these two were both rookies. They both Anna had a longer segment about her just watching all the ninjas and wanting to compete on the show. It's not much of a segment, but it was something.
I guess so. And Madeline, she still looks like the youngest ninja. She still looks like the youngest ninja competing this year.
Yeah. These two were still pretty head-to-head. It was actually kind of close, with Anna definitely having a lead going into Slingshot. And she ended up falling, unfortunately.
Yeah, I know. And Madeline became one of the couple of women to actually hit the buzzer. And I noticed, like, a lot more ninjas actually do. Actually became one of the few women to actually finish this entire course. And honestly, I can say congrats to her.
Yeah, Whittles surprising, but definitely an interesting race to start off with. It was kind of a slow race, honestly, but it was fine. After that, we had the first men's matchup featuring veteran Isaiah Wakeham going up against Grant Cunningham. Thoughts?
Yeah, this is the first legitimately close race in a legitimately somewhat close race since the safety pass race between Kai Beckstrand and Caden.
Yeah, definitely. Because these two, they both finished the course seconds after each other. And I'm pretty sure Isaiah Wakeham moved on to Vegas and as the top non-winner.
Yeah, he did.
I was just like checking it because we have Ninja Wiki open on the side as well just to make sure we get all of these results right. But yeah, it was a lot more of a closer race. It was nice to watch. Grant Cunningham did get a segment about him being the ice ninja and building ice sculptures for his roommate Daniel Gill. Like, I think that's actually kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's interesting profession. I didn't even know it existed, if I'm being perfectly honest. So it's enlightening, I guess.
Yeah, after that we had a fast-forward segment featuring another matchup between Sebastian Christopher, the Ghost Ninja from Ninja Junior, and Grant McCartney. And Sebastian, surprisingly enough, won.
Yeah, I think it's just because Grant McCartney hasn't really been training all that much. He's definitely the bigger body. He's a lot heavier. So because of that, he fell on sideways. Well, Sebastian ended up winning the court. Well, Sebastian ended up falling on Slingshot.
Yeah, a little bit disappointing that neither of them finished the course, but I'm honestly kind of indifferent to the whole, Sebastian Christopher's going to Vegas, Grant McCartney's out, that kind of thing. I don't think I'm really having emotion for it.
Even though you hate Grant McCartney?
Even though I hate Grant McCartney, I don't think it really matters at this point.
Let's go, boy, man.
Alright, so, moving on to the next Anyway, moving on, the next matchup was between the Eskimo Ninja Nick Hansen and Ninja Warrior Junior veteran Joseph Rouse.
Yeah, I think it's awesome seeing Joseph Rouse on the big show. Just something about that Joseph Rouse, he was actually pretty good on Ninja Junior, despite the fact that he's more of a rock climber. But he had a segment about him being in his school's robotics class and basically just talking about that. I think it's an interesting idea. I mean, I've always been into the whole idea of making your own robot. I think it's actually a pretty novelty concept, but not something I would actually do, actually.
Yeah, I get your point there. But it was an interesting segment, I will admit that. The race itself was actually pretty surprising, where we had, Joseph Rouse remained in the lead for the majority of the race, where Nick Hansen kind of just lagged behind a little bit, but still trying to keep it close. Joseph then ended up falling on Slingshot, meaning that Nick Hansen could have had a comeback, but he did not, and Nick Hansen was not powerful enough to finish Slingshot, so Joseph Rouse ended up getting the win.
Yeah, a little disappointing that Nick isn't going back to Vegas, but honestly, I think I'm probably okay with Joseph Rouse going there. I mean, he has the potential to go pretty far in Vegas, I think.
Yeah, I can see it. After that, we had the next men's matchup, that being Carson Williams versus Abel Gonzalez. And this is probably the biggest, one of the bigger examples of races to where it's not much of a race.
Yeah, no. Abel had this strategy of waiting for Carson to fail and following very closely behind and not even attempting Slingshot. He basically just gave Carson the win. You really shouldn't be able to do that, guys.
Yeah, no, I am perfectly okay with the whole non-winners moving on thing. I think that's okay, but that rule allows for a strategy like this to be a possibility, and it's kind of annoying to me.
Yeah, it's stupid. And again, this race is a full example. There's another one later that I do plan to do that I want to point out later when we get there. But it's just goes to show that these aren't races and aren't much of races. And again, so a strategy like that really shouldn't be allowed. You should be trying to win your race. And again, the bigger problem, I think the main reason why this strategy was taken was because of the rule set and slingshot being a very difficult obstacle, and an obstacle not really meant for a racing format.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like slingshot's the kind of obstacle you should be able to take your time on. So the fact that they don't let you and they have to make you waste on it is annoying. I think Spin Hopper was a way better choice, and I wish they used it more.
Yeah, we saw it a grand total of once doing the safety pathways, and we saw how fast that obstacle could be if you're efficient at it. Like, that obstacle, despite it not being the best choice in the world, I think it was a way better choice.
Yeah, I think it would have been so cool, that obstacle. It's similar to like the hanging staircase from Ninja vs. Ninja. In that way, I think they could have even made it more similar about like making both competitors share the same side when going down it. Like, it also feels a little good not having a warp wall on this course.
That too, actually. I mean, like, the warp wall was kind of the main reason why the war allows for comebacks as well, so... Yeah, it's kind of just their fault.
It is actually kind of interesting how, like, this is also the first course to where you're going, it's like mirrored flipped, where you're usually, going from left to right, and then it's just going right to left. It's just a little bit like, it's like breaking the 180 rule.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. It's just like, that's kind of what it feels like. The one, of course, just with the other one out. Because if you actually do notice, at the shots with the competitors are at the buzzer, they'll actually, you can see the other course right behind them, the qualifying course. Meaning these were built right next to each other instead of having a back half.
Yeah, I guess that's the advantage here. Again, it's a little annoying. I think it would have been funny, actually, to see, like, a warp wall behind a warp wall.
I don't know if it would be funny, but just, like, it would be kind of interesting.
Yeah, I don't know, it's just the way I'm thinking about it now, the way you're bringing it up, it's just, like, it made me think, just having two people want the warp wall at the same time.
Yeah, this would be a total waste. That'd be a fun way, actually. Have, like, one person one on one side, the other person on the other. I know then there won't be a sense of the other competitor, too, but, like, I don't know, I thought that'd be more interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of obstacles that they could have easily have used. I did just notice when looking at this screenshot we have pulled up here, I guess to go on screen, I think I can see, spin, what is it, the spin wheels, also, whatever they're called, like, in Vegas, like, I think I see those. So I feel like that might be Season 16's course.
Oh, really?
I feel like.
If it is, then that's interesting.
Yeah, all we can see is the cubes on the screenshot we're looking at, but yeah, I am really curious. Again, Jay Lachey said they were filmed right after each other. He specifically said that Season 15 filmed, then Season 16 filmed, so I think it would make actual sense that Season 16's course was still up at the time of filming this.
Yeah, it would make sense. Again, I'm curious to see how they're going to handle Season 16. Like, if they're going to do it, like, during the winter of this year, or this is going to take this year off from filming altogether. It would be interesting. If they do that, again, I hope that, Season 17 is back to the usual format, because I do not like this format of voicing. I don't know if others like it. Have you gotten opinions yet?
It seems like people find this season decent, but that was after the qualifiers, so I am definitely going to be doing more polls with my fan base to see if they actually, like this new racing format, the stuff with Vegas. I definitely want to raise some fan position on that, see what they think of the, new Vegas format rules, because I think they ruined the whole point of Vegas, but, we're getting off topic here, moving on to the next matchup, we had
Isaiah Thomas and Forrest Strick. Any notes on this one?
Got nothing. It was a nothing matchup. To be fair, Forrest did keep it close against Isaiah, but not really much. Isaiah did come away one of the faster times of the night, so he was seen later during the safety pass matchup for this round. But yeah, he ended up moving on. After that, we had one of the bigger shocks of the episode, and honestly of the season. Isabella Wakeham going against Sandy Zimmerman.
Yeah, this might be a controversial take, but I feel like Sandy Zimmerman is the official new Casey Canzalo.
Actually, yeah, I agree, actually. I never thought about it, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah, they joke shut up about her. She's the first mom to hit a buzzer. I mean, at least with her, I think she's better than Casey. At least then it wasn't a fluke performance. At least Sandy is actually a decent ninja who's actually been able to show that she could go far on multiple occasions. She's hit 2 buzzers. Like, she's done a lot more than some of the other big ninjas. It's just like, they don't shut up about her, and I really want them to shut up about them. I think it's one of the first cases since Casey that I'm just like, just shut up, I don't care anymore.
Yeah, you sound like so enraged.
I am, like, I'm not as bad as I sometimes am, and it's not the worst thing in the world or anything, and it's definitely an editing thing and not because of the competitor. But it's just like they say the same things over and over again. And they really did dish Chef Isabella Wakeham off to the side for this segment, too. Because they went on and on about Sandy and gave her an entire segment about the fact that she's never been to Vegas. Which, honestly, I thought she had been in season 11, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah, it was a little surprising to learn that. But yeah, they just go on and on about Sandy, and Isabella barely even gets 2 seconds of mentions in doing this race. And then she, surprisingly enough, falls in the flying shelf grab.
Yeah, that's the shocking part of this. I honestly, I remember Sandy winning, especially since we saw her in Vegas this week, but I honestly completely forgot about the fact that Isabella fell in the flying shelf grab. It just came as a big surprise when we were rewatching this.
Yeah, honestly, again, I say it's one of the biggest shocks of the season because I was totally expecting Isabella Wakeham to move on. I'm sorry, Sandy, but with a matchup like this, Isabella deserved to move on way more than you did. But it was definitely just surprising, and especially considering Sandy's performance in Vegas, it was definitely more disappointing in hindsight, looking at it from that perspective too.
Yeah, definitely. After that, we had Kyle Soderman and Cyrus Snyder on a fast-forward segment. This was fine, I guess. I mean, I don't have anything to say about it, but Kyle Soderman won the matchup and is moving on, so that's nice.
Yeah, Cyrus fell in slingshot. After that, we had Benjamin Drake versus Elijah Levy. This was pretty much a nothing matchup between a rookie and a little bit of an older competitor that I'm pretty sure is also a rookie too. But yeah, not much to say about this one. Benjamin Drake ended up winning, and Elijah fell in the flying shelf grab. Benjamin also fell on sideways, which was pretty surprising, I guess.
Yeah, you think, but no. After that, we had probably the most, the most pointlessly shown matchup of all, Capricorns versus Simba Jones. And they made a big deal about Simba.
Yeah, so they gave a segment to Simba talking about his social media career and how he has 9 billion views on TikTok or something like that. And they're like, if he has that many views, who doesn't know about him?
I didn't.
Well, okay, just still, the point is, it's just like, I don't think someone with that much popularity needs that much of a segment.
No, he already got one in qualifying too. Give Cal some love, man. I mean, I was already cheering for him going into this race, and Cal pretty much destroyed Simba, as Simba fell in the flying shelf grab without much pushback.
Yeah, this race probably should have been fast forwarded. It didn't really need to be shown. There were a couple other races I could think that go in that spot. I think the Kyle Soderman race we mentioned earlier, even if it wasn't really all that notable, it was still a lot closer than this race could have ever been.
Yeah, no, this was definitely just shown because we had Simba Jones, but I want to say the social media star, but honestly, I don't think it needed to be shown. I think it needed to be fast forwarded, if I'm being completely honest.
Yeah. After that, we had Carissa Morris versus Caitlin Jewell. Carissa got a segment about how she's also a mom. She trains with Sandy Zimmerman. It's literally just the same segment.
Yeah, I feel like I want to go to Vegas with my best friends and Sandy, and that's literally the gist of that segment. It's not much of anything.
Yeah, honestly, Carissa did end up winning as Caitlyn fell on sideways, but honestly, it was a blowout from then on out too, because Carissa was in the lead for the majority of that race too, and Caitlyn, unless Carissa fell late on, which technically she did on Slingshot, there wasn't really much of a chance.
Yeah, no. And honestly, I was kind of more cheering for Caitlyn on the basis that she had a way cooler story where they talked about how she built her own house with her boyfriend and whatnot. Like, I think we mentioned her last time when we covered qualifiers with her. She was actually kind of interesting, and I kind of wish she got some showtime because, like, I was actually genuinely interested in her day-to-day life, like, actually. Because she built her own house. Like, to me, that sounded interesting. Like, more interesting than Mom of the Week #2.
Is that Lloyd what you're going to call her?
I mean, at this point, wasn't it, Quissa? I don't freaking know.
Alright, after that we had...
One of the bigger shocks of the night, Ian Joy versus Jonathan Page.
Yeah, this is probably a case where, Ian definitely had the fan vote and definitely had the support going into it. But I was definitely showing for him too, but he surprisingly enough fell on sideways.
Yeah, I was totally expecting a move on. But no, Jonathan Page got a buzzer out of this one, so I guess good for him. We'll see how he does in Vegas. I don't remember how he did, if he could be this week. We'll get to it in next week either way, but yeah, it was kind of surprising.
Yeah, this match was fast forwarded along with the next race, which was honestly a really big blowout between Vance Walker and Eric Zamorano. Okay, I was trying to say it.
It's the tongue twister. Zamorano. It's like, I'm not even thinking about when I can say it, but like, if you're looking at it, it looks like a jungle of letters.
Actually, kinda, yeah. I feel like when you're naming your kid, you should avoid that, but that's a last name. It's not really something you can really control.
Not really, not usually. But either way, this was a pretty big blowout with Vance having a very easy win and coming away with the fastest time of the night, meaning he was in the safety pass matchup.
Yeah, Alec also ended up moving on as he was one of the top 2 non-winners, getting the slingshot in 58 seconds, that being the fastest time ever gotten there by a non-winner. So yeah, he moved on too. And then we had the next matchup, the next fully shown matchup, that being Rachel Brown and Barclay Socket.
Yeah, this was kind of a disappointment because they made a big deal about the rookie going into this Rachel Brown. That she got an entire segment where they were popping her up, saying that, she beat the course. And honestly, she's not even a rookie. She's actually a 2-time veteran who was not shown last time she was here.
Really?
Yeah, she actually could be in season 13, but had her one entirely cut as she fell in the first obstacle.
That is disappointing.
Yeah, especially with all the hype they're giving her here, it's actually is kind of surprising. And they didn't even end up bringing up that fail either.
It would have been interesting.
Yeah, it would have been nice to see. You'd think that would affect her, but no, they don't even bring it up. Rachel Brown, it was pretty surprising because she fell in sideways, but otherwise it was kind of close going into it.
Yeah, I mean, Barclay was moving on to Vegas once again. It was good to see it. Barclay unfortunately fell on slingshot, so she did not get a buzzer again. But I'm glad to see Barclay moving on, but with all the hype they gave Rachel Brown, I am kind of curious to see how she would have done in Vegas.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to see. After that, we had Jody Avila and Dion Butler in a fast-forward segment. This was definitely a nothing race.
Yeah, Jody had a very easy win as Dion fell in Beehive, so Jody got the win. Jody got the win, even if he fell on Slingshot. After that, we had the final shown matchup of the night, probably the most overhyped matchup of the night too. We had Daniel Gill versus Gary Wineland. God damn it, can they shut up about this guy?
Well, thankfully he's not moving on, but it came close to that.
Yeah, another bigger shot. Gil ended up falling on sideways. I mean, Gil, he had a shot to be handed the win, which thank God he didn't win this matchup. Like, I would have been so pissed. Because you know he would have went out on Three-Wing Circus on stage 1 or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think he would have gotten that far on stage 1. Maybe he would have surprised us, but probably the limit would have been the jumping spider for sure.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he could have done it, but honestly, like, the way you have to use your legs on that, like, you can't really do that one-legged.
Not really, even with aesthetic, I think it would take a lot. So, yeah. But still, like, I'm glad Gil's moving on. I just really surprised he didn't get into the safety pass matchup. Furthermore, not finish the course. It's just like Joe Molosky from last week.
Yeah, in both cases, those are probably the top 2 ninjas to win it all this season going into Vegas, and neither of them had hit a buzzer going into it, so it was a little worrying. Bulaski at least hit a buzzer last week, at least hit a buzzer during Vegas, but honestly, still, like, it was a little bit frightening going into it, and Gil still hasn't won. He's running next week, so it's going to be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah. Finally, for this round of the episode, we have the safety pass matchup between Isaiah being on speech. We have the safety pass matchup between Vance Walker and Isaiah Thomas. Definitely the closest matchup and closest race out of any one of these episodes.
Yeah, this race was neck and neck. Both of them were going back and forth, with Isaiah having a lead for the majority of the race, with Vance keeping it very close behind. Like, very, very close. Vance was able to come back on Slingshot and just barely edged out Isaiah, finishing before him by just 0.2 of a second. By far, again, the closest race we've seen. And honestly, it was probably the only, like, somewhat entertaining race.
Yeah, like, there was actually some kind of stakes here, and it was an actual race. Like, it's really annoying that, like, the safety pass matchups are the only actual, like, kind of races we have here. It is really annoying.
Yeah, but anyway, do you have any final thoughts before we move on to the, 4th semifinals round?
Yeah, I honestly don't have any final thoughts. I think we can just move on if I'm being perfectly honest.
Alright, well, in that case, moving on to semifinal 4. Fourth, this had the same obstacle lineup as the last round, as it was the same episode. But moving on to the first matchup, we had Enzo Wilson and Kyle Solzi, and I don't think this was really much of a contest.
Yeah, no, I mean, I like Kyle Solzi enough, I guess. But honestly, this was no contest against Enzo, who destroyed the course, but Kyle unfortunately fell in sideways.
Yeah, it's definitely like the most uninteresting matchup you can start off the episode. Same with the matchup afterwards, Flip Rodriguez versus Johnny Brown. Another nothing matchup will Flip blaze through the course, and Johnny ended up falling on Slingshot.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really all that close, and you just know we don't have much to say about either one.
No. After the commercial break, we had a fast-forward segment featuring Alex Rumor and Matt Calenzi, with Alex with this one probably being the fastest match out of the entirety of the semis. Yeah, because both of them fell at the same point in the falling shelf wrap, the second obstacle. So yeah, Alex started moving on to him finishing home one first, but honestly, it's I don't know how to describe it. It's just a weird position.
Yeah. After that, in the same fast-forward segment, we had Ethan Barnicki and DC Banks. Not really interesting of a matchup as DC fell in sideways and Ethan ended up completing the course, but Ethan did have one of the fastest times in the night.
Yeah, despite that, Ethan was not one of the 2 safety pass winners, but it still was one of the faster times. After that, we had Nasasa Gilmore and Isaiah Lee. This being probably the most copy and pasted segment ever.
Yeah, if you want to go with that. Isaiah had a really boring and honestly typical segment for Ninja Warrior, where he talked about the fact that he has a white tumor in his eye, or he's had one, and since his surgery when he was 12, he is blind in his white eye, meaning he definitely had the disadvantage going into this matchup, and Nasasa ended up getting one of the fastest times in the night. So, yeah, there was no contest here.
Yeah, I mean, I possibly Isaiah for trying, that kind of thing is a big disadvantage on the course, but there's not much to say beyond that. And plus, like, they are really just trying to make you feel bad and really trying to say this this kid overcame a lot, which I guess secondly he did, but it just doesn't feel like anything,
Yeah, it might just be the way they present it, but they kind of just tell you the issue, tell you he's fine, tell you he's blind in an eye, and you're like, look how much he's overcame, look how incredible this kid is. I'm like, really? It's like, it's stereotypical for Ninja Warrior. They love doing stuff like this, and it's just not entertaining, as you may think.
Yeah, then we had Elijah Brownie versus Roberto Gilmore. Another one of these close matchups. We had Roberto fall on Slingshot, but it was neck and neck throughout the entire thing, and I'd argue one of the fastest matchups of this round, if not the fastest, I think.
Yeah, I think so. It was like among like the safety pathways. I mean, it doesn't really exactly because one of the people fell, but honestly, until that happened, it was still one of the closer matchups.
Yeah. So anyway, that meant that Elijah Browning ended up coming away with a win, and he had one of the fastest times in the night, meaning he was in the safety pass matchup.
Yeah, and after that we had
Janique Lovett and Dale DePaulo, and this, I guess, is another contender for quickest race of the night.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's a little less of a contender in this case, but it's still really quick, as we had Dale fall on home run. I keep on saying hopscotch, man. I keep on thinking of that obstacle from Ninja Junior that started off the first round. That's my first thought.
Yeah, they're all the same obstacle. This is literally just the floating steps without the elevation.
I mean, at this point, you might as well. These obstacles aren't really all that much different. I don't even know why it's called Home Run at this point. They're all the fucking same.
Yeah, after that, we had RJ Woman and Daniel Osama, with RJ having a landslide victory, having one of the fastest ones tonight, and I believe he was the other competitor in the safety pass matchup with Elijah Browning.
Yeah, it was just really quick. Daniel fell on Beehive, and then we got the next matchup, which was actually kind of interesting. We had Brett Sims and Brandon Thomas.
Yeah, this was actually kind of close, the two of them going back and forth, neck and neck, until Slingshot, where there was some separation where Brandon Thomas pulled out to a lead over Brett, where he was able to get a quicker dismount and got to the buzzer first, but Brett still finished the course and was able to move on as one of the two non-finishers. So this was great to see, and honestly, it is always good to see Brett Sims here for the simple fact that he's the only competitor who can put on ANC. So it's good to see them actually bring it up. Even if it's just showing the footage from back then, it's cool to see.
Yeah, even if they aren't specifically Pacific on it, it's nice to hear about and actually see them acknowledge. After that, we had a fast forward segment featuring David White and Josh Herman Aka, which apparently is one word with a hyphen in it.
Yeah, I got nothing on that last name. David had an easy win. Anyway, Josh ended up falling on sideways, meaning David got the win. And after that, we had Caleb Bergstrom along with Jason Grossman, which was basically no contest with Caleb, he being the number 2 seed for the night, as Caleb ended up completing the course with Jason ended up falling. And this was all setting up for apparently the most husband-wife duo in Vegas, which is kind of funny because, again, Caleb and Caitlin Bergstrom are the first brother and sister duo to make it to Vegas, and now it's just kind of the competing competition here. And during the next race, Caitlin Bergstrom and Ashley McConneville / Ashley Bergstrom, the two of them, they had a segment where they were building out the fact that all 4 of them are best friends, and they were 2 ninja couples that train together, that do everything together. And this was a race to where there was way too much friendship.
Yeah, they can. Yeah. Well, to show you guys what we'll mean, after Sideways, Ashley decided to turn around and cheer for Caitlyn, and then even gave her a hug after she was done. Like Akbar said it himself.
She's waiting for her. I don't understand. Needs to switch over to be polite. She's being too dang nice.
Like, dude, it's not okay. Okay to have this. Like, this is one of the reasons why I don't think these are much of a waste. If you are more concerned with tweeting out and cheering on your friend, and there's no sense of competition or stakes in this at all.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a problem with you on your other friend, especially, after you finish and whatnot. It's good to see you both get a buzzer or something like that, but here, it just doesn't work. It feels kind of out of place.
Yeah, look at it. It just makes this feel like less of a waste, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. After that, we had Ryan Stratus and Austin Hare. This being one of the biggest shocks of the night, as Ryan Stratus, surprisingly enough, fell on Sideways.
Yeah, it was definitely surprising. I was definitely expecting Ryan to move on. And yet Austin Hare, who I think has competed on like one season before this. So it was a little surprising. Austin Hare did end up winning. It ended up winning at ending and did end up getting a buzzer as well.
Yep. After that, we had Bob Weiss and Vinny Castellona in that same fast forward segment. With Vinny Castellona being the winner here, though Bob Weiss did still move on to Vegas as the second place non-winner.
Yeah, we'll get to see. I mean, Bob Weiss, I don't really have much opinion about him right now, but I think he's still a decent competitor. And Vinny's a competitor I don't really know too well. I know he's competed a couple of times on the show, but he's probably good.
Yeah.
It's just that I'm just like struggling to find things to say about Ethan Ninja here. Like Vegas aside, because Bob Weiss.
Yeah. After that, we had Emma Pereira versus Joey DeWillio, which was another one of the shorter matchup as Joey, surprisingly enough, flipped out on Beehive. And then we had Emma Pereira, who kept on going until Slingshot was she fell. A little disappointing because Joey DeWillio, she's one of those bigger vets who I wanted to see move on. But you know what? We'll see how Emma does in Vegas.
Yeah, best way to look at it. And then we had the final women's matchup and the final matchup of the episode. Jessie Graff versus Jaleesa Hemka. Honestly, I think this was a good matchup and an amazing way to end the episode because this actually had some stakes to it.
Yeah, Jaleesa is the rookie going into this. This is her first season. But they had a segment going into this about her and Jessie Graff's history to where, Jaleesa looked up to Jessie all throughout her time on Ninja, especially Ninja Junior. And now Jessie Graff has a race against this kid. And unfortunately, Jessie Graff was once again taken off by Sideways. That really does seem like her kryptonite.
Yeah. I would love to see Graff conquer it in the future because it's taken him out twice now. But yeah, it's pretty disappointing. But I think it's okay. Jaleesa Hemka, she went to Vegas. Yes, honestly, I think I'm surprisingly enough, perfectly fine with the rookie going to Vegas instead of the better one in this case.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta cheer for the rookie, I guess. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling to have because you'd think I'd be more disappointed that Jessie Graff didn't get to Vegas, but I'm really not. I think I'm perfectly okay with Jaleesa moving on instead of Jessie.
Yeah, that led us to the final matchup, the safety pass race between RJ Woolman and Elijah Browning. This being probably I think tied semifinal twos, tied with last week's second safety pass race, as the least exciting, as RJ Woolman completely blazed through this course in under 40 seconds, by far the fastest time we saw in any of these episodes. Elijah Browning was not able to keep up, and yeah, as you guys probably could tell, RJ Woolman got the safety pass and is going on to Vegas with that.
Yeah, it was no business for RJ Woolman. Honestly, pretty much surprised. I thought this would be a closer race, if I'm being completely honest, but, it was still a good race in these two. I'll still go to Vegas, both of them. I'm excited for both.
Yeah, and with that, that's it for this episode of Ninja Warrior Podcast, and both of these rounds of the semifinals, meaning next week, for better or for worse, we are heading for Vegas.
Yeah, it's gonna be weird. I mean, I have some very negative opinions about stage 1 and stage 2 going into this, but honestly, I don't think stage 1 is entirely bad here. I think it's just that one thing about it that's tipping me off and making me really hate this. But I don't like the course design on stage 1. I actually kind of like. It's a weird situation. We'll talk about it next week. It's just kind of hard for me not to say it here. But you told me not to.
Yeah, look, I just want to keep the opinions strictly to episode by episode basis, so focusing on stuff from the 3rd and 4th semifinals is what I want to do. And yeah, so next time we are covering stage 1, part 1. Just talk about the first episode of stage 1, whether we're behind or not by the time that episode airs. By the time we get to the episode, it won't matter because it will be a very long episode if we end up going through both of those episodes. As they are finally going back to the normal air style, having both episodes being 2 hours.
Yeah, after the very messy air schedule of ANW 13 and 14, they are finally fixing themselves and going back to the usual format that worked for Vegas. And with again stage 2 being away, so I'm curious to see how this is going to work.
Yeah, definitely for sure. But anyway, that's this episode of the Ninja Warrior podcast. As we just said, we are doing stage 1 next week. And yeah, I don't think I have anything more to say. I think we just have to end this.
Yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Peace.